This is the most complicated thing I have ever built. So, where do we begin? This story started in 2012. I had no skills, no tools, just plywood on sawhorses and a lot of ideas. Well, project by project, I got better. I picked up tools and learned the craft, and I realized something fast. Your workbench isn't just a table, it's the foundation for everything you build. I saw the split top Roubo and thought, that's the ultimate bench. But I couldn't afford one, and I definitely couldn't build one. So I told myself, one day. Well, today's the day. I've got the tools now, and I've got some skills, but this build is going to push me further than anything I've done. So let's build this thing. This build starts with the top, 4 inches thick, solid maple, hundreds of pounds. To glue it up, I use dominoes to keep everything aligned. But before glue touches wood, always do a test fit, and it's a good thing I did. Now, the first glue up, it got intense. I decided to glue the entire back section at once. Clamps everywhere, glue setting, board sliding, and if I did it again, I'd glue 3 boards at a time. Way less chaos. Now, once the glue dried, the next challenge showed up immediately, flattening these monsters. And for that, I needed backup. So shout out to my wife for helping me wrestle these slabs around the shop, even though she still doesn't fully understand why anyone would need a workbench this serious. Now, looking at this so far, you might be thinking, this doesn't look that complicated. And normally, you'd be right. With most furniture builds, measurements just need to be close. If something is slightly off, you can usually adjust the mating piece and everything works out. But this build isn't normal furniture. This bench has precision vise hardware, and those parts have zero tolerance for sloppy work. If the mortises are off, if the holes aren't perfectly placed, the vices simply won't work. And the hardware, it isn't adjustable, which means the wood has to be perfect. On top of that, many of these mortises go deeper than anything I've ever cut before, so this project is about to push every tool I own and probably a few of my skills. So let's tackle the first real challenge.
All right, so as you can see here, this stuff was just making a mess here. I mean, this bit's probably 10 years old, at least. Pretty dirty, so I cleaned it up using some, here, I'll show you. So I cleaned it up using some of this stuff right here that's been laid around in my garage for a while. So it looks like it worked pretty well. So we're about to see if this actually gets me a cleaner cut. And I've managed to stay away from my shoulder. So if this works, we'll keep cutting them. If not, I'm gonna have to get a different bit. So let's see what happens.
So this is as deep as I could plunge with my router, so I've got to clean up the rest of this with some hand tools. So this is a great way to ensure that your mortise fits in whatever tenon you've made. So all you really need is a little CA glue and some scraps. So check this out. This will be something you can use on your projects. So I didn't have a bit big enough to cut out this center pocket, so that's where something like the Shaper Origin can come in really handy.
No, he drives the cars and like transporter.
So I've hit a bit of a dilemma here figuring out how to do these square pop-up dogs. I think I've got a solution, but let me tell you what I've run into. So initially, as you saw, I used a Forstner bit to get rid of the most of the material, so it'd make it cleaner on the router. I CAD designed a little file to lay them all out. So I got those cut. Then I flush trimmed as deep as I could go. I even put on a straight bit with a bushing guide, and that got me a little bit deeper. The problem is, so I'm using these little pop-up things, like their Bloom makes them to like open cabinet doors. I actually found some on Amazon that are the same thing for like $10 for 10 of them, something like that. Whereas the Bloom ones are like $14 a piece. So I'll link that below. But anyway, the idea here is this goes in this hole here. Well, before I show you, the problem is like I need to make this piece at least about this long so that I don't have to drill all the way through. But I've got this hole here. This fits nice in there. And then if I didn't, there we go. And then once you're sitting and you push on it, it'll pop it up. So the problem is I can't get, patterned out all the way. I Forstner bitted down far enough, so I'm kind of like stuck here. So that's not gonna work. I've tried hand chiseling, but that's gonna take literally forever. So I think what I can do is this 1-inch Forstner bit fits perfectly in the square inch hole, so I can use the hole as a guide, drill out the remaining material, and then just try to put a 1-inch, basically make this a cross between a round dog and a square dog. So have a round dog have it rounded on the bottom and square on the top. So we're gonna try that. Never seen this done before. So let's see if it works. All right, so I definitely don't advise trying this. This is probably a bad idea, but I've already got this piece cut. So let's try it on this little piece. If it looks unsafe, like I can't control it, then we'll just do a longer piece and mill that one. So here we go. So that's a little sketchy. Let's just get a longer piece and try it again. All right, so I think I can just do it with the shaper origin. Should have just done that to start with.
There's a lot more behind this than I could fit in one video. So if there's a part you want to see broken down, just let me know.